All right, it's 15 minutes after 9 o'clock on this sunny but very pretty setup on this Tuesday. Hope you guys are doing well. My meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to Snow Talk, the Wave Weather blog. And judging by at least a couple of the comments, and you're wondering why are we doing Snow Talk when there's no snow in the outlook, remember, this is the title for the entire season. Now, the exception to that will be if we have severe weather, then yeah, it will go to Storm Talk or even Alert Day, special report type of setup. And then eventually, yes, it's going to flip over to Storm Talk for the rest of the season, all the way through the summer. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Too early. The halfway point of winter is Monday. The halfway point is Monday. So while we're getting these warm surges kicking in, keep in mind we got a well to go. All right. As you guys know, you can comment on the social media side, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. And I love that we're seeing a lot of you more and more now on YouTube. So thank you all for chiming in. Really appreciate it. A lot to cover is certainly in the short term. It may not seem like it now because it is quiet. So it's really the latter half of the short term. The long term certainly does look busy. I will give you at least some of the long-term nuggets right after that break a little bit later on here coming up on data that will get us to about, I think, March 10th, I think, is some of the data I've got going out long-term, which we'll discuss coming up here in just a second. First off, as always the case, I'd love to do the snowboard, right? Let's get right to it. Hasn't changed. Keeping it the same, roughly around the 7th of February, which would be not this weekend, obviously, but the next weekend. It's a long way out. But that's where we start to look into a setup that we need to start paying a little more attention, as the systems will have a little bit more of an influence on getting colder weather a little further south, because it is going to be retreating here the next 2 days. But I'll show you why that's the case coming up in just a few minutes. As always, it's going to be quite the roller coaster ride coming our way. Outside, it's a pretty day. Look at that. Snow holding on. Really, the ice patches, I really don't want to call them snow anymore because they've compacted down the ice sheets. Kind of like a glacier, it looks like, right? Just taking forever to get rid of that. But we are seeing slow but modest improvement. Certainly will when the rain hits later this week. But at the moment, it's the above normal or above freezing temps that we get to, and the amount of sun that we're getting that's taking care of at least the areas where the sun's able to hit, areas that are still shaded. And if your house does not face the sun at all, then you likely are going to hold on to snow on your roof. Even as we will likely hit 60 later this week, you still could have snow on the ground. That would not surprise me. But once the rain has already hit, that will take care of it. But just keep in mind, there's a lot of salt on the road, so a lot of that residue from the salt will actually get back on the cars again. So I know I've seen a lot of very shiny cars. Haven't been mine, but I've seen a lot in town. Just remember that once the rain hits, you will get back onto a residue on the car, and then you'll have to do another wash after that. And then as long as we don't have to reapply it again, then you'll have a nice little break there. Speaking of breaks, be mindful of the potholes. I know they're starting to form already as the ice has begun to melt away, and we're seeing some of that expansion that is taking place on roadways. But once we get a decent rainfall in the area, especially when it comes to asphalt or blacktop, it does break away easier than concrete will. So you'll end up with a lot of roads that are nice and pretty normally in your neighborhood, can easily develop those potholes rapidly in a rain scenario. And it's a challenge because once they break apart, the puddles will fill in the hole. So as you're traveling along, you won't even notice it because it'll be full of water until your tire hits it. So pay attention and leave a lot of gaps between you and the car ahead of you, because if they hit one, obviously you want to have enough time to react and get out of the way before you have to hit it. All right, 36 in Louisville. Didn't really get much below freezing at all overnight in the city. The wind was a friend. Had a few clouds too, drifted overhead, but it wasn't too bad of a night. Temperatures will get into the lower 50s today. All right, the snowpack, you can still barely see it there across Indiana. Very, very patchy, but again, slowly but surely shrinking. As we widen out the view, you can see more of it all the way back still to about Wichita. Then you see the beginning signs of our system later in the week, but it's still getting organized. So it's not ready to arrive yet. It's still got a few days in the oven. And then it'll begin to roll out. Snow cover, though, in general has really dwindled along really just north of the 64 corridor. Very light amounts. I know it's still signaling some light snow on the beaches there in the Carolinas. It's gone there. It's all gone there. So this model hasn't caught up with that. But in general, the Rockies are going to gain on the snowpack over the next couple of weeks. And certainly the Great Lakes and New England, areas that have not really been hit by a lot of snow because they've been in the core of the cold. In fact, the core that Hudson Bay low was nearing record levels yesterday in eastern Canada. It was such a deep low. So that has just kept them snow showery, really, but not really big snows. But that is going to be changing for them. They're going to get enough warmer air that we'll be benefiting from. They will have it induce their snow events to a bit higher rates. Areas that haven't seen much of a winter as far as snow will start to catch up. I will say it is tough when you get a snow angle like this that develops into eastern Canada and New England, and then you lose it right here where it really does count for many areas into the plains and the pattern coming up. It's tough to get it back down again. The only way you will really see that change is almost like what we had this winter, where you're going to get these southern systems that are going to form, and you'll get these random snowpacks that will form more to the south. They usually are temporary when they form like that. If you had a lot of snow in the area, sorry, a lot of my drawings, you had a deep snowpack through here, and then you were to get some kind of snow on the southern edge of that, usually it can linger for a long time because the cold air just keeps going over that snowpack over and over, and it keeps the snow on the ground, doesn't melt. But when you don't have that, when you have these little random snow patches, they usually don't last long. That's typical in February and March in our area, and I think it's exactly, if we're going to get any future snows from here on out, that looks to be the trend. So that's the good news I can share with you. I don't see a pattern that would say that we're going to get snow and ice on the ground for 3 weeks like we did in January. I think that was certainly the worst of the winter, right? So snow lovers, it's okay to still say you're a snow lover. No one's going to be mad at you. No one's going to throw anything at you, all right? And if they do, you let me know. But we're not done yet. And the snow haters that are out there, maybe hate's a strong word, snow dislikers that are out there, I do think you're going to love these warmer spells. And we're going to see more of those in between each little shot of cold air. So the goal is to try to make everyone happy. It's not easy, but we'll try. All right. As you're, let's see, you probably got a lot of questions. Nope. Everyone looks all right. Everyone's just commenting on town. Everyone's a real chatty day. I'm glad. All right. Here's what we're going to do. Let me walk through the short term and discuss how we're going to get through this first system coming our way for late Thursday and Friday. We're good today. Got any errands you need to run, things you need to fix around the house? I'm doing the same. Pipes have been bursting, so yeah, get ready for that fun. I think we'll cross warmer than what this says. We should easily cross into the lower 50s. Quiet tonight, chilly, but nothing excessively cold. Tomorrow, some high clouds. Otherwise, another pretty day. We'll add on maybe 3 or 4 degrees to the thermometer. All right, that's fair. We'll add that on to the mix. Could be breezy at times, by the way, today and tomorrow. Just want to mention that. We get into Thursday. Thursday's the day that we'll have to sacrifice to the weather gods as a toss-up day, as we go from a basic quiet pattern and perhaps some sunshine early in the day to a rainy, chilly setup by the time we head into the afternoon and the evening. Here's how that looks hour by hour. First off, at 10 in the morning, we've had some hazy sunshine around, and then we'll get at least some cooling that will come in. Hi, Tawana.
Did you just say something about sacrificing something to the weather gods?
Oh, I say that all the time. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, sacrificing weather maps, the weather gods, snowflakes. Yeah.
I just thought I heard that.
I get very into, Greek mythology a lot. Okay. Yeah, that's where that comes from. Yeah. In case Zeus is watching, you never know. It's possible. You never know. Could be on YouTube. All right, rain. All right, here's the issue. This is our in-house model, showing the rain increasing fairly quick. Couple things to note here, and I don't want to get too in the weeds on this because I'm going to say it several times this week before we get to it. But in general, the air is going to be quite dry when the system moves in. So we're going to cloud over after a sunny start. We're going to become cloudy. The radar is going to send rain to our area. You'll see it on the radar, but the dry air is going to eat away at the first little leading edge of this. So it'll have a tough time. We call that virga. It'll have a tough time reaching the ground. But it's also a cooling process. So the thermometer may drop a bit as we into Thursday afternoon. So we'll be a relatively cool setup Thursday afternoon with light rain increasing. Now, the rain itself, as this moves into the Ohio Valley, it is going to take a shape. And I'm just drawing generally, not where it would be on the map. It will take an upside down L look. That is how it will move in. This is going to move north and then east. Areas that see that northerly push and get into that horizontal line I drew will get some decent rain, but then you have to deal with the line to your left that will also have to push through, if that makes sense. So that's where your higher rain totals will likely be, where you get a mix of both of those lines moving through. I'm probably not making sense. The models are varying a bit. Some want to take the upside down L all the way up to central Indiana. And then that leaves a lot of us just with the main line of rain only Thursday night into Friday. Well, that cuts down totals quite a bit, and under an inch in many spots in that case. Some of the modeling, as you're seeing here with this particular in-house one that we've got, this is the graph model, it wants to basically take the upside down L right across central Kentucky, and therefore we end up with high rain totals, generally very close to where the two kind of line up together, where areas can get both waves. And that makes a difference because that's 1 to 3 inches of rain on the potential side if you get that scenario. If you go with the Euro idea, which some of the other globals models that we call these, the bigger long-term models, they like that idea of bringing it a little more north. So the rain total forecast is not in stone yet. I think we're going to do a mix of the blend of all the ideas right now and just say in general, yes, Kentucky, at least 1 to 2, maybe up to 3, and then up to 1, certainly for Indiana. But I just want to caution you guys that the configuration of how this moves in, still not set in stone yet because it's not a fully phased system, a fully stacked system, we call it. There is a disjoint between the main low and the upper low, which you'll see in a second, that'll enter stage left. But that disjointment is the reason why there's still some wiggle room that we could get some of those higher totals a little more north than what the models say. Okay, so the rain total forecast is not locked in. That's the whole point of all that rambling that I wanted to point out. Yes, we could get some thunder out of this. That is certainly possible, but I'll talk about severe risk coming up. But overall, I think this is mainly just rain and wind. But there is a bonus period that could develop. See that little patch of at least less widespread rainfall in Illinois? I think that's an interesting signal as we head into your Friday afternoon, especially. I'm going to talk a little more about that. I'm going to take just a real quick break. I promise we're going to be right back here in just a smidge, right? For those of you watching on streaming, you'll see an ad for real quick. Everyone else, just hang tight for about 30 seconds. I'll be right back. See, that was painless, right? Told you it would be. All right, so how do we evolve into that little bonus feature on Friday? Let me show you. This is the Euro model. Very much the same model I always show here as far as configuration. If you're new to the blog, though, this is the rain snow line aloft, that blue line. This is our system in Texas that's been giving California rain, thank goodness. This is the one that's going to roll out. All right, here we go. You can see the slug of motion. You can almost see the L shape, right there. And again, you can see how it takes a little more north than some of the in-house models do. And I mentioned it's disjointed because you got your surface low here, but here's your upper low here. It's not on top of the actual main low, so it does two things. One, it allows for a gap in the middle here, a dry slot, and it prevents a rapid surge of cold air that normally would enter some of these scenarios and allow for a rain to snow changeover. But we're not talking about that at all. It's not on the snowboard because of that reason. The upper low is disjointed, so it's blocking basically the flow for cold air to change anything. So this is a rain or nothing kind of ordeal. All right, so that's easy. But that little bonus feature, as it moves in, there is a chance the steady rain early in the day on Friday will easily become more spotty showers, but I'm seeing a growing potential to go partly sunny Friday, midday and afternoon. If that happens, two things will occur. One, the wind is going to ramp up easily over 35 miles per hour, quite windy, but it will certainly warm us up. We've moved our numbers, as you're about to see, into the 60s for that potential. And it could go even a touch higher, depending on how much sun can break in between the main shield of rain and any of the spotty showers there. How widespread will the clouds be? But that potential for a little bit of a bonus setup Friday afternoon is certainly there. But it will be so windy. I don't know if you'll be able to enjoy it. But something to watch as that moves on by. Then we get the upper low that comes in with some showers and drizzle on Saturday. But overall, Saturday will be a colder day compared to a day in the 60s. I mean, a 20-degree drop, but not, 15 below zero wind chill. Okay. It just will be colder than Friday, but still in the 40s. Okay. We can handle that. But then guess what? Put on your seatbelt. We're going to do it again. We're going to reverse the wind for a one-day warm spell on Sunday, Groundhog Day. The wind potentially could easily again gust to around 35 miles per hour. But the difference here is there's going to be a very tight temperature gradient, very close to I-64. There is a chance some of you in Indiana may only stay in the 40s, while, say, Campbellsville and E-Town could get to about 63 or 64. Louisville will be splitting the difference, probably close to 60 the way it's looking. But where we have that temperature difference, the wind is going to be at its strongest. So there is a chance to get gust again over 30, 35 miles per hour on Sunday. But still a bonus day as far as warmth for a one-day period, because we're going to do it again. We're going to drop the temperature down. There goes that rain snow line heading back down into the Smoky Mountains. And this is where we get into the setup next week that we call overrunning, where this next system that wants to roll out, it may need some help from the other one in the Pacific here to come and basically kick it eastbound, but we don't know yet if that's going to happen. But in general, moisture developing in Texas is going to try to do its best to get to the rain snow line and then go over it and then head into the north. As it does so, if there's enough cold air at the ground level, you can get some wintry weather. As of now, I am very suspect of that. I think that threat is going to be more north of us. As you see here with the Euro, it doesn't even keep that threat very long. It rapidly moves it up to the Great Lakes, that stronger push of south winds. So, and typically in these scenarios, without a snowpack on the ground and warmer weather previously before it, yeah, it's usually easy to bet on the idea that you're not going to get any frozen precip and you're just going to overwhelm the atmosphere with warm air. So that's a trend I'm going with now, unless I get convinced otherwise. But it does allow for another warm scenario for next Friday, not this Friday, but the next one. I'm looking way out here, guys. This is the system, I think, that will have more of an issue of severe weather with it, heavy rain. And this one should be what we call a mature cyclone. You don't want any of those immature cyclones. The mature cyclone, and it could have a much greater potential to drive in colder weather and allow for rain to snow set up there. That is indeed possible as we head into the long range there. And this, again, will be around the 6th and 7th, somewhere around there for February. All right, let's look at some data. First off, on the severe risk, let me take this full screen. Severe risk with the first event here on Thursday night, not worried about it. Down to the south, even with a northern push, I have yet to see the signal grow here. Now, if we keep seeing what the Euro's wanting to do with the upside down L and keep pushing it northbound, that may at least allow for some gustier wind potential on some of these. But right now, everything looks south. We'll monitor that. All right, as far as the snow matrix goes, from the Euro for at least, it includes both systems I covered, the one this week on Friday, the one the next Friday. They're all on Fridays, it seems like. Notice it doesn't have anything going on with the first one. But boy, you get into the second one, and thereafter it gets noisy again. But it's still having trouble picking out, how that will evolve to any kind of wintry threat. It just sees the potential is there. The members are not all filled in, but it's noisy. For snow lovers, that's step one. You just want it noisy, and then we'll figure out details later. But I also got the data on the long range snow matrix. This one looks a little different. This is a general cumulative kind of snowfall look, but this takes you all the way to March 11th. What is interesting about that is that a lot of the pink lines and dark blues start more so in March, not for the rest of February. I haven't seen that in a while. Will that hold? It's potentially on the table, but that would be interesting, signifying that winter is going to have this revenge now after throwing us a curveball. It wouldn't surprise me that could indeed happen. We'll see how that trends. But those will be more your wet snows that don't stick around very long. I like those. Those are a lot easier to handle, but we'll see. Better than the severe weather in my book. But okay, here we go with the 10-day. 52 today, 54. There we go. Thursday, again, rain increasing. Could start off with sun. So your morning drive on Thursday, you're fine. Even your Friday morning drive could potentially be okay if that heavier band is east of 65 by sunrise on Friday, but we'll be watching that. Otherwise, some bonus sunshine possible that will easily push us in the 60s. We drop Saturday, climb Sunday, drop Monday, and then rise again later next week. Isn't this fun? Oh my goodness. Okay. So what questions can I get you? Michelle, so the 8th possible winter storm mix or severe? Don't know yet. Don't know yet. My gut, just based on the pattern, is going to be rain and thunder kind of set up. We can't tell severe weather this early. Just rain, maybe thunder, and go into something wintry. Yeah, I think that's on the table, but I can't get more specific than that. So a little tough there. Let's see. What is going on? Y'all are talking about my beard again. My guess, instead of the groundhog, we'll see beards cast a shadow, determine whether 6 more weeks of winter. What do you think? Well, I can tell y'all right now what my beard's not going to be around for long. All right, so sorry. It's warming up. I'm going to start sweating. Okay. Any questions you got that I can try to answer other than, any specifics? We're not going to do 2012 again, right? With that much snow in March, are we? I hope not. But remember, in 2012, we had severe weather too. So it was like severe weather to snow. If there's every year where that could happen, Angie, unfortunately, yeah, I do think that could happen. So, but you know what? I don't want to get speculative. I don't want to hype things up in March. I don't even know anything other than more the surface data right now. But as always, I try to be honest with you guys and blunt and give you as much data that I can that I'm looking at. And I think you guys who've been here for a while on the blog, you know that things change, but you like to know. You just like to know what the possibilities are, just like I am. I love that too. All right, I'm going to end it here for now. I got to run. I appreciate you all as always. It is nice outside, so get out there and, run your errands. Enjoy the outside. Go wash the car maybe. Actually, I've seen your car. You probably should wash it.